Hello guys, how are you doing? I hope you're doing great. Today I'm gonna be designing my own eyeshadow palette. I know it sounds crazy, but actually, let me explain. My boyfriend got me for Christmas some empty customized eyeshadow palettes, which means they have my channel's name on them, which was a very thoughtful gift. And he wanted me to, dip my toes into creating and making makeup. Of course, I'm not gonna go as far as, creating my own formulas, going into a lab, but I'm gonna be making a mini series which will be consisting in 3 parts. So the first one's today, we're gonna be designing the palette, meaning we're gonna pick the shades, the formula like satin, sparkly, matte and stuff like that. The second video will be me actually putting together the palette, so I will fill the pans with the shades I want. I will be depotting eyeshadow palettes, be repanning some eyeshadow shades, so putting everything and my vision together. And the third video will be, of course, the one in which I try it out. So since I got 5 of these empty palettes, I will be starting with the first one, which will be like the very basic eyeshadow palette that I would use every day. If everything were to burn down, that's an unhappy statement right now, I think. If I had to lose all my makeup and I had to just choose one eyeshadow palette, I would pick this one I'm going to create. And it's gonna be fun because we'll be using Canva, going over Pinterest boards, like color palettes, stuff like that. My idea for this one is to base it on the new Pantone color of the year, which is Mocha Mousse or Mocha Mousse. I don't know how that's pronounced, and I'm too lazy to look it up, honestly. But I thought it was a nice starting point because I think it has everything I would need in an everyday eyeshadow palette. Like, that color is comforting, it's not too warm, it's not too cool, but you can do a nice color scheme around it. So yeah, let's get right into it. Of course, if you want to see where this ends up, please remember to subscribe so that you can see my videos in your feed, and thank you very much if you are doing so. But let's begin. So as you can see, I'm starting with an empty color palette from Canva. I wanted to have an eyeshadow palette layout, something that resembles an eyeshadow palette more, but I couldn't find a picture that was high quality enough to do that. So we're gonna be using these empty circles. And yeah, so I looked up a few of these color palettes. This is the website Color X. So basically, these are pre-made by people, I think, and you can have the X codes here. And I just looked up Mocha Mousse, and these are a few options that came out that I really like. So this is more warm leaning, but it has some taupes, which is super interesting because I definitely want my palette to have taupes, since I am cool toned, neutral, cool tone leaning, go really well with my skin tone and undertone. So I like the mix between these warmer shade and these taupey shades. So that's definitely something I want to keep in mind. This one I liked because we have that warm, comforting color, but we also have some staples, because I think that of course we're gonna need a cream shade and a darker shade. The cream shade to blend, clean, and do everything, and this darker shade, of course, to deepen the look, give it some depth. The final one I looked up, it's a bit more similar to the first one, but this goes more warmer and this goes a bit more neutral. So these are all X codes I'm gonna keep in mind. I want to look up Mocha Mousse here on Pinterest and see, which shades call my name and which it is associated with. For example, this board here, it has some swatches. So you see we have Mocha Mousse, but we also have supporting colors like Baltic Amber, Chocolate Martini, and this Sirocco, lighter shade. I'm gonna write these down, and I'm using ChatGPT because I want his help. I feel like it can be of help. So I'm just gonna write Sirocco and the X code. So these are the first 4 shades I'm writing down, and of course by putting everything together on Canva we're probably gonna have to make a selection, but for now I'm just pointing them out. I just want them there. I feel like this is the perfect like shade, and sometimes it can lean a bit pinky, which I like. So this color is always well, often associated with like some darker browns. So I feel like this this color palette has some nice inputs, adding the dark brown and the cream. As you can see, like here we have some dark brown, and like here we have the contrast with the white. It's also super interesting to see which makeup is being associated with this color. Like for example, here we have like About Face, one of those liquid eyeshadows they have, the nail polish. Here we have some other X codes. I'm collecting X codes because I will use the X codes on Canva to pick the color again. But when I'm gonna create my palette, like in actuality make it, of course I'm gonna go based on the swatch and how similar to the design it is. I really like from here this shade here, this pinky brownie one. So I'm gonna write it down because I feel like I need some pink browns, I need some mauvey browns, taupes, and warm browns. And I think I didn't mention that, but we only have 12 pans to work with, which is the perfect like size, but it means I'm gonna have to min-max everything. Like I feel like looking at this like layout, I feel like the color of the year was made for me and a lot of other people, of course, because everybody's raving about it. But look at this like brown lips shade. I wish I had that, and I probably have something like that. What if I just look up Mocha-Mousse color palette and see if people are creating palettes like these ones over here? Okay, so it seems like people are associating greens as well, which is an interesting choice. I feel like maybe if you're leaning more like olive, that's an interesting idea. If we have other shades, they are putting in some like proper whites, grays. I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but for now I really like this like 734C3F shade. I think it's like the middle point between like a Mocha-Mousse and the dark one, so it's like the missing link. I'm gonna write this down. So yeah, this is what the color stands for. It represents comfort and indulgence. So I think the comfort is like those teddy bears and cozy blankets, and the indulgence comes from, you know, all those latte pictures we're seeing, these desserts pictures. That's a really nice concept. I really like the idea behind the color. You can see here they are like putting it together with pinks, which I'm super excited with, but I also want some taupes. And I think that this picture is what we're looking for. Yeah, so these are like stone grays. I'm just gonna write it down and then we're gonna see how it looks. So I feel like I don't wanna go like properly gray because it goes a bit too far on the other end. Like I feel like Mocha-Mousse for me it's like a neutral that can lean cool tone or warm tone, but if you put in these like super cool grays, you're gonna lean cool tone a lot. So I'm just gonna write this one here. It's in the same tonality, but it is a bit cooler. So you see here, this is what I think I wanna do, like go from lightest to darkest and have all these shades. And I feel like right now I have like the primary, of course, I have the dark, I have the mid-tone. I'm probably gonna need a light one, so I'm gonna write down this like light shade. I think this is the first picture where I see mauves with the color. Like these second one and this sixth one, it's not the sixth, seventh one. Some mauves, I think they go super well together, and yeah, I'm gonna add them in. So we have 10 colors so far. I think I'm missing a super light one. So from this picture, I'm gonna take this X code and I'm gonna look for the last shade, like from this, and then we're gonna see what ChatGPT suggests and what it would tweak or, you know, add, remove and stuff like that. I'm gonna pick one shade from one of these color palettes, and I have to say I have one shade like this one here, and this is its Xcode, and it's from the super old, you know, Kat Von D Shade and Light eyeshadow palette, in which you had 3 cool shades, 3 neutral shades, and 3 warm shades. And I have kept this eyeshadow for years. I know makeup expires, but I just can't help it. There's something about that shade that I really love, and I cannot part with it, but I never use it because it's like a depotted eyeshadow left somewhere. So I feel like that incorporating it in this color story, it not only makes sense, but it will also help me use it more, which is also the idea behind the palette, you know, because I'm gonna depot some shades. Part of me thinks I'm ruining the eyeshadow palette, but part of me thinks that I don't normally use all my makeup, so it makes sense to repurpose it so that I fall in love with it once again. So now that I have this list, I want to create the prompt. This is the prompt that I'm creating. I said, hello chat, I want to create my own eyeshadow palette. I'm picking the Xcodes to create a design on Canva. I have some ideas for it as follows. It will be a mixture of matte and shimmer satin shades. It will have cooler tones as well as warmer neutral tones. It will feature some pinky mauvey browns to round everything up. Below are some shades I brainstormed. Can you check them out and give me suggestions and ideas? And then are my notes. So let's see what ChatGPT has to say about my idea for this palette. Selection already shows a cohesive and thoughtful range of shades. Mix of matte shimmer shades along with variety of warm, neutral and cool tones provide versatility. Below are my suggestions to refine and enhance your palette. General notes: matte shades, great for creating depth, yes. Shimmer shade, I know. Your mix of warmer neutrals and cooler mauves works well to appeal to a wide audience. Well, I don't really mind that because it's gonna be appealing to me, but maybe you can pick the Xcodes and make your own Mocha Mousse eyeshadow palettes, right, like I am doing right now. Add suggestions for improvement. Adding a deeper shade, you could add near black or deep espresso matte. I like the idea of a deep espresso. I thought we had added that. I think chocolate martini was our espresso. I will ask him about that. Pinky brown to refine. My current pinky brown is slightly muted. That's correct. So let's see what are those ones he suggests. I'm gonna go here on Canva and just write the color. So this is the pinky brown he suggests, and what I picked is instead, okay, this one here, which looks like this one. Yeah, he's right, it is muted, but I think that a muted color story fits better than this like more vibrant, because it is leaning a bit peachy now, and that's not what I want. So I prefer this one. Then he said, light shades are great. You could add a shimmer with a cooler undertone. Okay. Cool tone shimmer, like this one. That's very icy. I feel like if I want to use this on my lid, because it's a shimmer, it's gonna make a icy look. So I'm not sure about that, chat. A champagne, I don't like champagne, but I will check it out. I mean, it's not properly like a super golden champagne, so I like that. So I'm gonna keep that in. Balance of mauves. To make your mauves more distinct, try a cooler, more purple leaning shade to contrast warmer tones. So it says this one. I like that one. That's nice. So I want to keep these. Now the issue is that I have like 14 shades and I want to round it down to 12. So let's see what it does. Lightest shade, light, pinky brown, neutral, mocha mousse, mauvey, deeper mauve. I don't think I gave him that. Yes, I did. Sirocco, champagne shimmer, mid-tone brown, chocolate martini, and mauve taupe. Baltic Amber has been removed because it overlaps, and the warmer shade similar to Sirocco but slightly redundant. Don't tell me you have eliminated my... Yes, it did. It put out my Kat Von D shade. I don't like that. I like that shade because it says it's similar to Sirocco. It says it's similar to Sirocco. It is similar to Sirocco, but I prefer this one. Okay, now that we did that, we have some light tones, we have neutral tones, and warm and cool accent. Let's see how these 12 shades look together in a palette. So I'm gonna like remove everything, bring everything back to black, and we're gonna place everything together. This is what the eyeshadow is looking like with all the shades put together. Of course, keep in mind a lot of these are muted, a lot of these are light, so this isn't like a palette that can maybe work for every skin tone, but I'm just designing what works for me with my own makeup. And I think I like where we are at. I just want to create a better layout, and let's see what ChatGPT suggests. So I don't know how brands do that and decide that. I think that's super hard. So I'm gonna see what it says. Grouping color stories by quads or duos, exactly. But if we do that, then we have 2 quads and 1 row. So I'm gonna make a duplicate and see. Arrange these around, move them around. So this is the suggestion, and I like this much better compared to this. You can see these are all scattered and they don't really make sense. It's not super intuitive to like pick something. But if you see this, you know, you have like this quad here, and this is a warmer quad, and then you have the mauves here. So I think that this is the choice for this. Now, I haven't decided which one's gonna be a shimmer and which one is gonna be a matte. I'm gonna have to see based on my based on the eyeshadows I have, which ones are available, which mattes I have, with shimmers, satins, and stuff like that. But I feel like we have a solid idea for an eyeshadow palette, and yeah, it looks like perfect to me right now, and super excited. So this is it for today's video. We have created a plan, and maybe this plan will just be, you know, completely broken and disrupted when I actually touch the eyeshadows, because I will probably see something that I will want to have. But right now we have a plan, and it's nice to have a plan, and plans are made to be broken, as Jinx says. So we're gonna see in the next videos and get into my eyeshadows. Hopefully you will be here to see the next video and part 2. Thank you for watching this, and have a great one. Bye!